What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, legendary Olympic gold medalist, former two-time heavyweight undisputed world champion, entrepreneur, the man, Hall of Famer, iconic, superstar, Big George Foreman himself, the man, the myth, the legend. He weighs in as everybody else in the boxing world is weighing in and is buzzing about two-time unified former heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer, who also is Olympic gold medalist, Anthony Joshua, losing to a fellow Olympic gold medalist who competed in the same Olympics and won gold in the same Olympics, Ukrainian superstar boxer who's a former undisputed cruiserweight world champion turned heavyweight, now unified world champion, OLEKSANDR USYK. OLEKSANDR USYK is now 19 wins, no losses, no draws. OLEKSANDR USYK 13 wins by way of knockout. OLEKSANDR USYK is 34 years of age, stands at 6'3" with a 78-inch arm reach. With that said, Anthony Joshua, 31 years of age, 24 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout. Stands 6'6" with an 82-inch arm reach. Okay. Anthony Joshua is 31 years of age. OLEKSANDR USYK is older than Anthony Joshua at 34. So with that said, George Foreman weighs in on OLEKSANDR USYK winning the unanimous decision victory. And George Foreman, he says that Anthony Joshua, well, has shown the look of fear in his eyes since he lost June of 2019 to now former unified Mexican heavyweight world champion superstar boxer Andy Ruiz Jr., who upset Anthony Joshua, one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport of boxing, at Madison Square Garden, New York, where Anthony Joshua was making his professional debut in the United States. He fought as an amateur in the United States, not as a professional, and he was dropped 4 times and stopped in the 7th round of that fight. And George Foreman, he says he's not surprised that Anthony Joshua lost to OLEKSANDR USYK because you can see the look of fear in his eyes. You can see the hesitation. He does not know who he is. He does not know who he wants to be. So he stated that, he's been there before when you have hesitation and you don't know and you show confusion. He says it's all boiling down to there's too many people in Anthony Joshua's ear and they're tugging in so many different directions that Anthony Joshua, he doesn't have time to sit and overcome his fear of what took place with the Andy Ruiz fight. Now in the rematch, he fought Andy Ruiz in the rematch. That fight happened June 1st of 2019. They fought again in December 2019. And Anthony Joshua, he won a unanimous decision victory over Andy Ruiz Jr. But he was doing a lot of movement. He was utilizing the ring, staying away from Andy Ruiz. And he has a distinct size advantage over Andy Ruiz. Anthony Joshua at 6'6", Ruiz at 6 feet tall. Andy Ruiz with an 82-inch, Anthony Joshua with an 82-inch arm reach, and Andy Ruiz with a 76-inch arm reach. He has a distinct size advantage over Andy Ruiz Jr. But he was utilizing the ring because he didn't want to get in exchanges with Andy Ruiz in the rematch after being dropped twice and stopped ultimately in the 7th round. So he says, George Foreman says he still has that look in his eyes when he was standing in a corner and the judge and the referee called it a halt against Andy Ruiz in that first fight. He says you could still see he has that same exact look when he was standing in that corner in his fight with Kubrat Pulev, in his rematch with Andy Ruiz, and now in his fight with OLEKSANDR USYK. So he says you can clearly see that look of confusion. And because there's so many people tugging at him, he never got a chance to sit down and identify who he truly is. Now he says he's going to talk a good game and tell the boxing world that, he just chalks it up and, it's just for him to, opportunity for him to get better moving in the future. It's a hiccup in the road. He says, that sounds good, but nobody can sit with Anthony Joshua but Anthony Joshua. So he says that he's confused. He has a lot, a tug of war going on, and he's been there, George Foreman. So George Foreman is 72 years of age currently as it stands right now. But George Foreman, he was Olympic gold medalist like Anthony Joshua. George Foreman is an undisputed heavyweight champion 2 times, okay? George Foreman, he became a heavyweight world champion again at the age of 37 years old, I believe it was, or 39 years old, something of that magnitude, becoming the oldest heavyweight world champion in the history of the sport of boxing. He finished his career 76 wins, 5 losses, no draws, 68 wins by way of knockout. Big 68 wins by way of knockout. One time in his career, he was knocked out 6'3" with a 78-inch arm reach. So, ironically, George Foreman was considered Big George Foreman. He was considered a very big heavyweight then. And George Foreman is the same size as Oleksandr Usyk, 6'3" with a 78-inch arm reach. So that just goes to show the difference in the heavyweights today's time. George Foreman, his last fight was 1997 against Shannon Briggs. He lost a majority decision. Prior to that, he had lost to Tommy Morrison, Evander Holyfield, but he made his comeback and he beat Michael Moore, to become unified, world champion in 1994. George Foreman is a historian in the sport of boxing. Okay, and so George Foreman, like he said, he faced a lot of adversity after that fight with Muhammad Ali. When he lost to Muhammad Ali back in 1974 in the Rumble in the Jungle, he said that, he had a lot of looking in the mirror to do. Now, he did come back 2 years later. He fought Ron Lyle. He KO'd Ron Lyle. It was an action-packed fight for the vacant NABF title. Then George Foreman, he fought Joe Frazier again. He TKO'd Joe Frazier in 76. He went on a winning streak, but then he lost to Jimmy Young, okay, back in 77. Then he went on a 10-year hiatus, okay. He came back in 1987, and he pursued the heavyweight world title, in which he eventually became heavyweight world champion once again, okay. To many people's surprise. Many people didn't expect George Foreman, after being out of the sport of boxing for 10 years, to come back and win a world championship. He lost to Evander Holyfield, but Evander Holyfield then lost to Michael Moore. So he beat Michael Moore and became the champion, okay, the unified champion. So with that said, George Foreman, he knows what he's talking about the sport of boxing. He's been there before. He's experienced. And he says you could see the hesitation on the part of Anthony Joshua in the fight. It was clear as day. And it's ironic because another undisputed heavyweight Olympic gold medalist, iconic Hall of Fame superstar, and Lennox Lewis, he uttered the same sentiments. Lennox Lewis, he stated that you can clearly see Anthony Joshua is not committing to his jab. He's not taking command with his jab as he should be with the much smaller guy. He's not throwing anything with conviction. He's not looking to hurt Oleksandr Usyk with the jab. Okay, he's not looking to control the fight, because Anthony Joshua was hesitant to get countered. Usyk was countering him with the overhand right and right hooks, and Usyk is a southpaw, okay? And then he was confusing Anthony Joshua. He'll double up with the jab. He would feint with the hook and come straight down the pipe with the left hand. And that made Anthony Joshua hesitant. So like George Foreman and Lennox Lewis both stated, he looked very hesitant. He looked confused, okay? He looked surprised from the opening bell. Now, I personally stated that I knew that Oleksandr Usyk's size, his quickness, his southpaw stance, his high ring IQ, his technical abilities was going to give Anthony Joshua problems in the first half of the fight, until Anthony Joshua, he adjusted and made some adjustments and adapted to what Usyk was doing. And in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, he did so. But then it became a seesaw battle because he didn't take control of the fight with his jab, as they both stated. He lost then, he won 4, 5, and 6, but then he lost 7, he won 8, he lost 9, then he won 10, but then he lost 11 and 12 decisively, okay? And it was lack of commitment. They both were fatigued, okay? But you can see Anthony Joshua thinking in the fight. He was bending down, giving up his height, giving up his range. So George Foreman, he says that, it's going to take a lot of soul searching for Anthony Joshua to bounce back. Obviously, they're going to look to have an immediate rematch, as they have a rematch clause with Oleksandr Usyk. They don't want that belt to, switch hands, because Oleksandr Usyk is probably going to look to face the winner of the highly anticipated trilogy match between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder that's scheduled to take place October 9th in just 2 short weeks, okay? And that would be for Undisputed. It's been a long time since we had an undisputed heavyweight world champion. And that would be a massive mega fight. And Oleksandr Usyk is already 34 years of age. And there's reports that Anthony Joshua suffered a broken eye socket. So if he suffered a broken eye socket, you can expect him to be on the shelf for quite a bit of time, okay? And so if that's the case, Oleksandr Usyk at 34 years of age is going to look to stay active, okay? And the winner of that fight, he's going to look to fight for Undisputed. And because Anthony Joshua has settled his mandatories, Oleksandr Usyk doesn't have any mandatories except for maybe the WBA, because he was the WBO mandatory. Anthony Joshua settled his IBF mandatory in Kubrat Pulev before this fight, and maybe it's the WBA mandatory. If that is the case, you can expect to see Oleksandr Usyk versus Joe Joyce if he doesn't get the winner of Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. So George Foreman, he says it's going to take a lot of soul searching for Anthony Joshua. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom CEO and promoter Anthony Joshua, said that there's nowhere to hide. They're going to look for the immediate rematch with Oleksandr Usyk. But that eye injury could delay Anthony Joshua and put him on the sideline for quite some time. And those belts could change hands if Oleksandr Usyk faces Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. So we got to see how this unfolds. But George Foreman says you can see the fear in Anthony Joshua's eyes. That same look he had in his eyes in the corner when he lost to Andy Ruiz is the same look he's been having in his eyes moving forward. So let's see how everything unfolds and plays out. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram by Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share the videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hey, this is Ebony Bridges, Blonde Bomber, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.